blame game, you've done it again. Fact or fiction, it's all pretend. I'll just leave you on red till you out of my head. On red, the metaphor spill out. It's all the boys sharp when the text message sent out. Saw you at a pin out, so I had to pull my pin out. Knew I had you on lease, now it's time to pull my rent out. The game might have been out, only call me when you need a little more than I want to give each week. Paying the fee, cause my time ain't free. I recouped it all, now it's time to leave. Selfish, I know, had to let go. A couple goodbyes better than a fake alone. A couple long nights make it feel single. Played the cards wrong, now I'm yelling, ooh no. I feel like we already know. We've been on this road here before. Ready, I'm ready to go. Cause love don't live here anymore. So, done with the small talk. You throw the same fit. All that I hear is the same thing. You say it's my fault, I never listen. I was just thinking the same thing. Playing the blame game, you done it again. Back to fiction, it's all pretend. I'll just leave you on red till you out of my head. Till you out of my head. Right, till you out of my head. The more that you speak, seem the less I know. Water me with lies, then the less I grow. You got something special, but it's hard to see when you act so whack. Never really tried to relate with you. Guess I'll take some blame for that. I don't feel no shame for that. I'll make my bed and lay in that. Cause everything's sweet, right? Shorty's calling every week, right? Right. Checks coming from the beach, so my number is reserved. Always booked, never free, right? Right. I feel like we already know. We've been on this road here before. Ready, I'm ready to go. Cause love don't live here anymore. So, done with the small talk. You throw the same fit. All that I hear is the same thing. You say it's my fault, I never listen. I was just thinking the same thing. Playing the blame game, you done it again. Back to fiction, it's all pretend. I'll just leave you on red till you out of my head. Till you out of my head. Right, till you out of my head. Till you out of my head. Right, till you out of my head. And no need to text back, baby. Just leave it on red. Yeah.
Dancing in the dark, twisting in the fantasy. Like colors in the fog, whispers in the shaking trees. Meet me in the wonder, show me how to lucid dreaming. Hold me to the surface, take my hand, say we're leaving. When I'm broken into pieces, sew me up and give me meaning. When I'm grasping at the thread, show me how just to believe me. And I'll start moving in the black, drifting in the in-between. Like shadows in the empty spaces in my memories. Meet me in the nightmare, show me how to lucid dreaming. Hold me to the surface, take my hand and say we're leaving. When I'm broken into pieces, sew me up and give me meaning. When I'm grasping at the thread, show me how just to believe.
Hello. How is everyone doing today? Hang on. That's not much better. Hang on. Hang on. We're overexposed. We're overexposed. People are finding out about all of our secrets. All of my secret... Oh god, no, skip version. All of my secret game designs. Much better. Much better. Still not amazing, but it's fine. It's fine. It's because I've got a white screen. Anyway, doesn't matter. Lighting stuff. How's everyone doing today? It's going to be a bit more of a chill stream, where we're going to work on the recent concept. It's not really a concept. It is an idea at best at the moment. And we're just going to give this a little bit more context. We're going to set up some design pillars, which are really, really helpful tools to, to form the pillars for your design, right? And help inform your future decisions. And then we're just going to dive into the engine. We're going to start with some of the basic functionality, moving around, looking around, maybe some animation work. There's also a quick look I want to do through the marketplace, because right now it's still 70% off on a lot of different things. So maybe we can get some nice things for this prototype on the cheap, which will help us out later down the line. Because ultimately, we're trying to make a prototype that meets the design pillars, basically. In as little time as possible, and with as much value as possible. And value is a separate concept that we'll probably talk about later. Hey, Jagu. Zombie stealth coming up. You know it. Making a new stealth. Not platformer, Jesus. Stealth survival game. So what I was thinking... there we go, that's changed now. Very good. Also, NGY Exter, thank you very much for the follow last night. I didn't see it, but I see it now. Thank you very much. So initially, what we talked about a few weeks ago, we talked about zombies and gun. That was how we started. Then we said sound. Then we said, alright, what if we have Viscera Cleanup Detail meets The Last of Us? Right? In the sense that you have to clear locations of whatever remains in terms of zombies and stuff like that. You have to do it in a stealthy way, and ultimately you need to make these places somewhat habitable again, right? Like you're kind of like on the tail end of the apocalypse here, where there's still quite a few buildings that are still like infected. Hey Purge, how are you, buddy? There's still like infected and zombies and stuff everywhere, but there's now big enough groups that are kind of like systematically cleaning out buildings, and specifically you, the player, are doing that on your own. Maybe there's multiplayer at some point, but fuck that. For a prototype, no. So you could almost say... Hang on. You could almost say... can I grab a good sized image? Yeah. You could almost say that it's kind of like this. To grab a more recent example, you could kind of combine the three of these, right? Where initially it's about stealth and clearing out zombies and stuff like that, and then it's about making it minimum habitable, right? Like clearing infection nests and clearing, pancakes on the wall. This will be gory, exactly. I want this to be very gory. So we've got this stuff, but it gets... So like State of Decay. State of Decay, but actually as a good game. Yeah, I said it. I'm not afraid to die by that opinion either. Because we have this, right? But then we talked about, okay, what if after one mistake it turns into a shootout? Because all these zombies react to sound. So how do we solve that? Well, ultimately, you want a very reactionary... this is a reactionary solution. But you want a good movement set, right? You want the player to be able to use a relatively large movement set to get away from the zombies, since they react to sound and sight. If you get out of sight, they'll lose interest at some point, right? Unless you're still making noise. Dying Light, but also as a good game. Dying Light is better than State of Decay, but still not a big fan of Dying Light. But yes, Dying Light has a lot of influences, I think, but also another one. Hang on, another one that I was thinking of. Oh, what was it called? Ah, yes, this is it. I had to find this in a weird way. Hold on, let me copy a picture, because that's cooler. I was also thinking this gem. Mirror's Edge, right? Which was definitely like I know that Mirror's Edge was a big inspiration for Dying Light, in terms of movement. Mirror's Edge didn't get everything right in terms of movement, but they got a lot of it right. I think that'd be super interesting, right? Ultimately, we have to scale down in a second, but for right now, we're just gathering some references here and there. And if I just grab Dying Light as well. There we go. So I think we can utilize Dying Light and Mirror's Edge for movement. And I think for the feeling we want to evoke, we definitely want to focus on The Last of Us, because that, like, the thematics there they're excellent, right? And I think for the game beats, basically, right? The level of intensity that you have throughout playing the game, you want to switch between The Last of Us tenseness, right? Like the really like, oh, every choice you make has a consequence, to some degree, and then ultimately you want more like a downward slope for when you're actually cleaning stuff, right? There's some considerations to be made there. Can I move this? It's really bothersome that it's not kind of in the middle. There we go, that's ish. So that's what I'm thinking. What does the prototype consist of? Oh yes, we made a list. I forgot about that. 3D movement, 3D aiming, shooting one gun, using one melee weapon, very small level layout, zombie directs to sound and sight. A scene that presents the intended vision and mood of the levels. Yes. First-person arm animations, basic Zombo animations, and basic gun VFX. Yes. I think I still agree with all of that. Now we're gonna need to divide this into prototypes as well, but I think this is ultimately kind of like the end result that we want to get towards. And what I'd like to do, just to kind of showcase and to kind of prove a point, I guess, I'd love to track how many hours we're spending on this prototype, right? It's not great. Because I think ultimately, I always preach that you shouldn't spend too much time on your prototypes, which is 100% true, and I still believe in that, like, always. But I also think that it's good for us to create some insight here and say, okay, how many hours are we actually spending on the prototype? Because I also spend a lot of time talking about stream stuff and talking about game design and whatever. So can we like get a timer somewhere? We can probably get a timer somewhere. Hang on. Oops, this one please. Online timer. There we go. Google's got it built in. Great. Okay, so we just started counting. No, hang on. Stop. We want to do a stopwatch. And then we just can I pull this out? Is that? Oh wow, Jesus! Can I do this and then that? No. Well, we're gonna create something here. Let me just pull this a little like this. There we go. You guys will be able to see this in a second. There we go. You guys can see that, right? Hey, Carry Next. That prototype's kind of proof of concept of game design. Yes, it is. Yeah, your prototype is very much meant to prove that whatever idea you have is fun, right? Because when something is fun, it has a much larger chance to succeed. Like both in the sense of being a good game, but also in the sense of commercially. There's always unknowns and learning curve when you get to new stuff. Exactly. We're gonna blow out the budget for this by probably tenfold, which is totally fine. Time estimates take some learning to get close to correct. Yes. Although I would recommend not using time estimates at all. But that's a whole separate conversation. So I'm just gonna click start, and this will never stay on the forefront, will it? So yeah, actually, what we'll do, if it's at the forefront, it's at the forefront. If not, then I'm sorry. We can actually put it kind of here, because look, it's counting there at the top, so that's kind of cool. Yeah. So what I want to do, I want to set up some quick design pillars, and I'll explain what those are. So, design pillars. Essentially what they are and what they serve as is they're the pillars to your design, if you will. Which I know sounds obvious, but what I see a lot of the time, and the stuff that I got taught when I started game design 8 years ago now? Almost 8 years ago. Like in 3 months, 8 years ago. Is that when people start designing a game, or developing a game, I should really say, because people hardly ever think about game design. When you start developing a game, people kind of go like, oh, and I want to do this, and I want to do that, and then I want to do all of these things. Okay, no worries, Chironix. Sorry, we're gonna take care of this for you. Absolutely. They kind of want to do all these things, and they're kind of in this lawless area where anything goes. And usually what happens is they end up focusing on everything, which means they're not focusing on anything. Which means you're gonna end up with a prototype or even a full game. Most of the time, you're gonna end up with a full game that just really has no focus. It's not a coherent design, and it's just usually 99 out of 100 times not fun, right? So what we want to do when we look at design pillars, we want to create a fence within which we can be creative, right? We want to create boundaries, basically. And this is a super loose theory. Like, there's really no guideline on how to write the perfect design pillar. There's really not. But there is some good tips and tricks. So what you want to do, you never want to focus on more than 3 design pillars, maybe 4, maybe, like minimum of 2, maximum of 4. That's really what I would say. Sorry, I had 9 up there. It's 4. Sorry. Because if you do more than that, then, well, even that's not entirely true. Hang on. Okay. I'm gonna make this a little more clear. You have primary pillars. You've got secondary pillars, and ultimately, but I wouldn't recommend this for anyone starting out, you've got tertiary pillars. And all of these kind of like fall under each other, basically. Like that. So if I, for example, if I want to say that my primary pillar is all actions have consequences, I should call this all player actions. Remember, clarity is really important here, because you want these pillars to be super clear, so that you can always test, when you're adding a new feature or a new piece of content, you can always test, does this piece of content or does this feature align with my design pillars? If the answer is no, then don't add it. There's no exception. Don't add it. So if my primary design pillar is all player actions have consequences, my secondary pillar, mirror words are good for concepts. I agree. Totally. All players have consequences, and a secondary pillar could be something like and never design on your feet, which is what I'm doing right now, where I'm trying to come up with good designs as I'm thinking, which is never a good idea. But I'm doing it anyway because, well, you guys don't have 8 hours, and I don't have 8 hours to come up with something. Then maybe like a secondary pillar to kind of like further specify this is we could say something like every consequence forces the player to pick from a fight or flight response. That's actually not too bad, to be honest. That is actually not horrible. And then a tertiary pillar, which gets really specific, is you can use already released games to showcase depots. Sure. However, because design pillars are never written the same way, I could do it, for example, for The Last of Us, but likely I won't word them like the developers of Last of Us did, which can introduce differences. So that's always why I'm a little hesitant when it comes to design pillars to use already existing games. yeah, but I'll do an example in a second. But yeah, tertiary pillars could be something even more specific, like for example, the chosen response has a permanent effect, something like that. That'd be a way to kind of like tier them out, right? So you have your primary, then you have your secondary, and then you have your tertiary, right? So that means that whenever I add a feature or a piece of content, I can basically run it past these design pillars and say, okay, does this feature fit within the boundaries that I've set? Because ultimately, and I don't have any evidence for this, but I know from empirical evidence, which is just that it's been shown over and over and over again, and there's plenty of much more clever people that have talked about this a bunch, that creativity really comes out when there are limitations, right? When you ask someone what kind of game they want to create, let's stick with the game's context, you know, they'll go in any direction. But if you tell them, oh, I want a platform, like a 2D platformer that really focuses on bringing out, I don't know, the emotion of jealousy, that's creative, because then it becomes a problem. Okay, how am I going to do this? How am I going to live up to this request? And then you have to be creative, right? So that's why limitations always work, in my opinion. But again, right at the start, I would just recommend just starting with primary design pillars. That's enough specification already. That's already usually enough to kind of stick with. So if we look at something like The Last of Us, hang on, shit. Can I duplicate? Yes, I can. So if we were to look at something like The Last of Us, then we'd probably have as design pillars, well, probably all player actions have consequences. That's probably one of the ones that they used. Probably something else they did is, let me think. What else have they done? I've played this game like 4 times. Every narrative interaction should build towards the narrative climax. If anyone's played The Last of Us, the first or the second one, you'll notice that the narrative never wastes any time sharing stuff that doesn't matter. They have done that quite clever. Probably another pillar could be something like force the player to consider their approach. They did this by limiting, like severely limiting, the amount of bullets you could find throughout the game. Like you cannot run and gun your way through the game. And that was exactly the intention, right? And so there's probably maybe 1 or 2 more design pillars. This is of course a very large game, but likely they've got 1 or 2 more design pillars that kind of build up this game as it is. And all of the features kind of fit within this framework. So yeah, that's kind of what design pillars are, and that's how you can build them up. Like there's going to be some differences between developers, and that's fine, but it's just about the concept of establishing boundaries for your design. That's really what it's about. And holding yourself to it. That's very important. Like you have to hold yourself to it. Okay, alright, that was a bit of a longer piece about design pillars than I had initially imagined, but that's okay. That's totally fine. So, if I just go a little further down, and I just remove these, and I just references. So we basically want the 3 of these, And we wanted Mirror's Edge and Dying Light. Oops. There we go. We'll put Mirror's Edge down here. Kind of like that. And Dying Lights. Perhaps a little larger. Like that. There we go. That kind of works. Doesn't matter. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, so we've got these games as references, right? And specifically, we want to kind of group these into 3 separate categories, really, for our case, right? Because we're not using everything from every game. That's not the point. Instead, we want to use some very specific things. So what I'm just going to do is, actually, instead of, yeah, you know what we'll do? We'll just, because that was a great, a really great suggestion there, Kyronix. We'll use a whiteboard real quick. So let's grab all of these, and let's just, there we go. All right, excellent. Oops. There we go. Great stuff. So we kind of want to put this into 3 categories, kind of like this. And we probably just want to say that this is for cleaning up the location. I'm just going to call it. That's perfectly fine. We can scale this up, probably. There we go. And then like this, we can put in thematics, because that's really what I want to use that for. And then this one is for movement. There we go. And then specifically, what I want to kind of inherit from these games, and again, make sure you have enough reference games, because ultimately having no reference games is usually a bad idea, especially if you're starting out. Nothing is, well, some stuff is original, but most of it isn't, especially not if you're starting out, and that's okay. That's totally fine. Bask in the glory of being able to copy stuff from other games, which you justify by saying you're inspired, so which is perfectly fine. This is how everyone does it. AAA does it this way, and other notable indie devs do it the same way, because it's perfectly fine. So from The Last of Us, what I really want to inherit is tense stealth scenarios. Let's do this, and let's make this a bullet point list. I want to do that. I want to do limited resources. That's definitely something I want to inherit. And sound-focused enemies. Even though other games have this as well. I like the way The Last of Us does it. For these games, I really... And I just got to check if I have Mirror's Edge installed, or even if I have it bought, I might do. I do not. How expensive is it? Oh, it's really not expensive. Okay, alright, hang on. Let me buy this without showing my payment information. Oh, it's on sale at the moment. 75% off. That's great. Ends in 2 days. Where you can get both of the games plus the DLC for $5.97. Yeah, we'll do that. That sounds excellent. Purchase for myself, please. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Purchase. Think you install the content. Then we'll take a look in a second, because Mirror's Edge has been a long time since I played that, so let's give that another playthrough in a second. Maybe not in a second, but at some point. But really what I want, and from what I remember, I want freeform movement in all directions. multiple automated. No, automated not the wrong word. Multiple moves that can interact with combat. I think that's the only two things I want to take from there. Because both of them kind of have that. Gore. Well, that's for Visceral Cleanup. This is not necessarily for Power Wash. Well, I guess Power Wash does have a lot of gore in it. It's just on the walls. And what else do I want to do for this? Systematic cleaning. That's probably what I want to do for that. That's probably what I want to inherit from that. Alright, is this installed? Okay, it's still busy with Catalyst, but the rest of them will be done soon. Which is perfectly fine. Oops, my sound has gone. There we go, it's back again. Very good. Okay. Alright, very good. Okay. So that's the things I wanna inherit. And I can put all of this shit in here. There we go. Look at that. Excellent stuff. Again, this presentation doesn't need to look pretty, right? It's just about getting some thoughts on paper. All of this is going to change, and that's perfectly fine. Alright, some design pillars. So actually, I do want to keep this one, which means we just kind of delete this page. So primary design pillar is I want all player actions to have consequences. Like that's... So reloading a zombie is equivalent to knocking over a bucket of dirty water. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Oh man, knocking over buckets of water. Playing that game with multiple people is so frustrating. Because just as you're done with like a section, cleaning it up entirely, one of your friends comes running through with like a bleeding limb and just like smacks it against the wall and there's just blood everywhere. So it's great fun, but it's very frustrating. In a good way, They handled that frustration quite well in the game. But yeah, knocking over a bucket of water just as you're about to finish. Terrible. Alright. Oh shit, hang on, I can't do it that way. I tried to kind of alt-drag to copy it, but that doesn't work. You know what I'm going to do to make this easier? On myself and on you guys? There we go, just make it a bullet point list. Much better. Alright, another primary one is probably... all player actions have consequences. Players should actively consider consider the consequences of every move, of every action. Like I really want to focus on. I really want to focus on a high level of player agency, which would be super nice to do. I think. I don't know. I think that is important to highlight. It really, really is. All right. Do we want to get an extra one in? Yeah. Players never know what is around the next corner. This doesn't entirely work with the level design that we're probably going to use. So let's rephrase this into something else. Players are always left wondering about what happened. This is much more of a thematic design pillar, which is totally fine, right? These design pillars, they can reach from the mechanical level to the dynamic level to the aesthetics level, and even the thematic level. That's totally fine. So that's okay. And then anything else? Maybe not. Maybe we can just start with this. Yeah, we can start with this. Well, yeah, let's start with this. Let's keep it. Let's try and keep it as simple as possible. Zombie stealth survival. Okay, there we go. Give it a good title. Okay, great stuff. Then let us quickly go into here. Because as you can see up here, the Black Friday sale is here. Save up to 70% on over 50,000 products, 15,000 products now through November 30th. So that's 3 more days, or 2.5 more days, depending on your time zone. I have a bunch of stuff on my wish list that I think could be really nice to have. Especially because some of them are like super cheap now, right? For example, this one is like 75% off, which is crazy. And like there's some that are like pretty expensive that are now like half price. You know, there's some really like, I wish this one, like we're gonna get this one anyway, but I really wish that this pack was priced down, but it's not. It's a bit of a shame. But this one, for example, normally it costs 104, now it costs 52. That's great. That's really awesome. Horror game sound effects, normally 30 bucks, now 9. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, right? And because I curate my list quite a bit, generally speaking, a lot of this stuff is pretty relevant. Now I don't have hundreds of bucks to spend, so that's not the plan either. I wish the Riverology plugin was off. That'd be so cool. I love that. But I was thinking of maybe getting the sci-fi space one. If it has like just the right style going on, it could do. I don't know. There's survival game sounds. There is what else? There's the winter environment pack, which is super awesome. Even though I think maybe the first level we want to make it more like a constructed area, like a hotel maybe, or like an office building or something that's easy to set up. That doesn't require a whole lot of setup. And there's like a bunch of like sound bundles. So first thing I wanted to check was the 2D survival icons pack. Just have a quick look, see what's in there. These are not awesome necessarily. That's 290 survival icons. Jesus. I don't love these. I don't love how differing the style. Like this one's like a 3D style, then this one's like a super simplified vector style. And then there's some like hyper detailed ones. I don't like the. This is going off my list. Get out of here. It's not the call I need. Action strings music. I love myself some good strings. Let's 19 different action music tracks for different kinds of games and other projects. All right, let's have a quick listen, shall we? Preview 1 on YouTube. Yes, I know that I'm leaving Epic Games. Oh, this was like live recorded? No, this must be stock music, right? Stock footage. I doubt this was live recorded. Well, it gets kind of chilly, kind of exciting, you know? Yeah, this is definitely stock footage, but... yeah, it is kind of nice. But maybe not the consideration for right now. How much is it? Oh, it's a big one. It's a big one. What is the reviews on this? So right now, I found it to be well worth the money. Thanks. Okay, can we get a better... yes, Epic Games. I know that I'm leaving. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Don't know how loud this is for you guys, by the way, but let me turn it down a little bit. Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it. Let's take it. if it's like 19 tracks, there's going to be something in there that's going to be helpful. All right, that is one thing in the cart. Next thing. Volume is good. Awesome. Thank you. So there's an action zombie survival game sound bundle, which is $40, but I know that there's these 3 packs separately at the bottom, so we'll take a look at that in a second. So first person knife, I want it because I'll show you why.
For just 67.
Nope. Stop it, Doodly. We don't want you. Alright. So there is, like, it's first person, and let me just turn this down, Jesus. It's first person, they're pretty good quality, there's many, like, different ones, there's lots of variation, which is nice, and I think a little on further down, they've got some looped animations, which is nice, which allows us to create some cool kill cams and stuff like that, and we can basically, like, attach anything to the hand here, and just, you know, if it's like a short machete or something, we could attach that instead of a knife, right? And we could just cherry pick which animations we want. There's a blocking one as well, there's a run, which is great, there's a jump, there's a sprint even. So yeah, I just find this a really awesome and really helpful pack. And it saves us the effort of trying to do this all by hand, which is just not worth it. So, like, sure, I want to learn animation at some point, but I don't want to have to do it specifically for every prototype that I'm trying to do. There's some horror game sound effects, which could be awesome. Audio preview. How much is it off? It's 518 high quality sound effects. Okay. Let's have a look. Let's see what this is. Oh, this is gonna be good. Oh, this is perfect. Oh, we need this. Oh, if we want to create, like, tense environments. Yeah, this is excellent. Sorry, I was just being quiet to not talk through all the sound effects. Yeah, I can imagine using all of these. Alright, add to cart. Cool, that's sound effects taken care of. It's music taken care of. We've got the animations that we wanted. Is there any art or VFX even that we want to do? The VFX starter pack is really expensive though, and I'm relatively sure that we can do the VFX ourselves. Don't need a pixel art GUI, procedural oak forest. No, I think the only thing I might still want to get is so I already have a few zombie animation packs, so I don't need those, but what I want to get is potentially, I just want to make sure that this is hotel. See if there's any. There's a modular hotel. Is that what I'm looking for? Space Hotel. An old hostel. This looks kind of nice. This looks definitely a little bit like what we're going for. And it's off as well. Yeah, this looks dope. Obviously, there's a lot of lighting work going on here, but the assets themselves look dope. Yeah, this looks like some pretty cool stuff. Let's see. It's project highlights on Unreal Engine 5 and Lumen technology. You can see how to open Lumen from this link. 104 excellent models, PBR materials, individual Lumen demo map. Collision is automatically generated. That's great. 4 lots, nice. So they're not nanited, but that's okay. What was the question that was asked? We will add soon. Okay, I don't think they've added an outside of the hostel. When was this asked? 17th of October. I don't really care. I don't need an outside. I only need an inside. Reviews, no reviews. Let's hard it and just have a check to see if we can, if there's anything else that kind of like achieves the same vibe. I think that'd be good if we can do that. Come on, there we go. So maybe I don't want to look for a hotel. Maybe I want to look for well, I can even type in hostel, right? Kind of see what comes up. There's a Soviet hostel. Forgotten Hotel. Sounds cool. Sounds cool. Let's try Forgotten Hotel. Let's look. It's got 3 out of 5 stars. Why? Not full modular. Oh, okay. It's really old. Okay. Another dead from COVID, hence no updates. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Alright. Then let's not go for this one. Okay. I think we're just gonna go with the old hostel. Right. Let's see what the soda price comes out to. 66 euros instead of 121. I'll take it. Let me just do this on this screen so you guys don't see my payment information. It's always, you know, always something to keep in mind. All right. We can use this option. That's fine. I'm wondering if you guys tend to collect or order or whatever, like asset packs for your prototypes, or if you try to do everything yourself. Yeah, I agree. I just gotta grab my phone for this. And scan. There we go. I've been collecting assets where I see good things for ship. Yeah, exactly. I do the same thing. I always use the free for the month from Epic. I've been doing that for years now. And it just gives you so much stuff to work with. So nice. So awesome. Alright, an email has been sent to you with a receipt. Awesome. Okay, so we go into the library. And I just want to filter by something. No, I can't filter by compatibility. But most of these things are auto-compatible, so that's okay. Okay, because again, we have a literal shit ton of stuff, right? We've got so much stuff to pick from. And 95% of this is all collected for free. So, yeah. I'd recommend if you're not doing this yet, even if you're working in Unity, you never know when you might switch to Unreal in the future. So, start collecting these. It's really awesome. It really helps. Okie dokie. What was I doing? Oh yes, creating a project. Duh. Makes sense. Oh yeah, we've got the action strings now. And we've got the other ones that we bought, which is awesome. It's great stuff. Because if I type in knife... Oh yeah, that doesn't work. I need to do it differently. instead I need to do that. There we go. First person knife. Cool. Okay, let's launch 5.1 because we'll start in the latest version of the engine because it's a new prototype, so we don't have to worry about switching around. And let's try to set up some of the basics already. I reckon we can get the first person animations already set up. Or at least to some degree. I did want to have a look about about the UE5 interfaces because yep, download this feature please. UE5 PP interface, because I have used them in the past, but I was told that my way of doing the animation blueprint could have been even easier with just using interfaces instead. So I just want to have a quick read through what this is supposed to be and like the different scenarios in which I can use it. A blueprint interface is a collection of one or more functions, name only, no implementation, that can be added to other blueprints. Any blueprint that has the interface added is guaranteed to have those functions. Yep, this is all fine. The functions of the interface can be given functionality in each of the blueprints that added it. This is essentially the concept of an interface in general programming, which allows multiple different types of objects to all share and can be accessed through a common interface. Put simply, blueprint interfaces allow different blueprints to share with and send data to one another. Okay. Yeah, I know how to create them, that's all fine. I know how to edit them, that's all fine. Function signatures. Yep, this is all fine. I know how to do this. Is there like an example? There is. Cool. So we can add them there. I know how to do that. Event example function. Right. Calling interface. So the functions of the interface are executed through the use of interface message nodes. What's the name of it? The other blueprint. Interfaces are useful for allowing communication between different blueprints. Functions from a single interface can be called on other blueprints. This can be done when two criteria are met. Both blueprints implement the same interface with the required function. The calling blueprint knows the name of the in-game instance of the other blueprint. So this part confuses me, right? That's the part that definitely confuses me. Let me do that. Perfect. Sorry, I was not paying attention to... There we go. So that kind of confuses me at the moment. I was looking for a tool that could create a page that I can share from my bookmark collection. How do you mean? It's important to note that the version listed beneath the call function is a local version and sounds only called within this blueprint. The version listed under interface message is designed to call the function via the interface on other blueprints implementing the same interface. Yeah. So the one with the little envelope is the interface one. Note, in this image we were sending another blueprint as the target input. This would call the function on a select blueprint. If that blueprint did not implement the interface, then nothing would happen. Gotcha. Interface can also allow for communication between sublevels. Okay, that's fine. We don't want to override stuff. So that's all fine. I'm a little confused still on the target logic. Because if I need the name of the other blueprint basically, then I need to cast to it anyway, right? Which feels a little weird. I have a large pile of pages offering free assets and need organizing. Ah, nice. Yeah, I don't know if there is an easy way to organize all that. I guess you could do it through Excel, but not sure if that's what you want to do. Alright, we don't necessarily want to include starter content, so let's not. And we actually want to save this on a different this is where we want to save it. Okay. Quality preset maximum is fine. We'll go with a blank one. We'll go with a blueprint. We'll go with stealth, zombie, survival. Stealth, zombo, survival. There we go. Excellent. We'll keep this page about blueprint interfaces open so that we can reference back to it again when we set up the first-person animations. Cool. Thank you. Okay, let's try to compile the shaders, which means my CPU is currently, yep, it's currently, it's not maxing out yet, but it's trying to, which is awesome, which is really cool to see. Look at how nice and cool the GPU is staying, at 54 degrees, that's nothing, that's great, that's really far away from overheating, which is great. I'm glad I bought the extra fans. Like, I'm really happy with that. And they're quiet too, so I can't hear the PC at all, which is just awesome. It's really good stuff. Okay. Here we go. Cool stuff. Help us improve by telling us your industry. Yep, thank you for preparing mesh distance fields. I'm not going to use this map. Game development, the coolest industry. Okay, very cool map. Instead, what we want to do is we want to create a folder called maps. And in here, we want to create a new level that we call LV test level. Oh shit, I did that the wrong way. Hang on. You want to do this differently. You want to go into edit, no, file, new level. There you go. You want to go basic, and you want to say create, and then this is where you want to say, I want to save this level in maps, and I want to call it LV Sandbox. Actually, there we go. Which gives us a bit of a nice playing space. Now, what I always like to do is just go into geometry and just place a box somewhere. Doesn't matter where, just literally anywhere. So there's a sense of direction inside of the scene. Which is just really nice to do. Okay, we go into edit, we go into project settings, we go into input. Whoa, what is this? Access and action mappings are now deprecated. Please use enhanced input actions and input mapping context instead. What? There's speech mappings? What? That's crazy. Enhanced. What? What is this? This is new. Nice, thank you. Page not found. Excellent. Well, so where do I actually enter this in? Hang on. UE5 enhanced input. What is this about? For Engine 5, like complex input handling or runtime control remapping. Okay, this could already be done, but okay. Provides development upgrade path and backward compatibility from the default input system from Unreal Engine 4. Oh, radial dead zones, that's nice. Corded actions, contextual input, and prioritization. Cool. Yep, I know how to do that. And then it's under... Once the editor has restarted, you can set your project to use enhanced input plugin classes instead of the default UE5 input handlers. So Unreal 2 has gotten a new input system. Oh, nice. That's awesome. Go to the edit drop-down menu and choose project settings. From there, locate the input section under the engine heading and find the default classes settings. This will initially contain the standard player input and input component classes. Can you send it to enhanced? Okay. Default class. So it's already on enhanced, which is great. You need to know how to remap the control triggers before the new input system. Yeah, neither did Unreal, to be honest. You had to like save everything in like an array and then have to like run through that array every single time. It was very confusing. Four main concepts: input actions, like jumping or opening a door. It can also be used to indicate user input states, like holding a button that changes the character's walking movement to running. Input actions are separate from raw input. An input action is not concerned with the specific input that triggered it, but does know its current state and can report the input value on up to 3 independent floating point axes. A pickup item action might only need an on and off state, indicating whether or not the user wants the character to pick something up, while a walk action might require 2 axes to describe the direction and speed at which the user wants the character to walk. Input mapping context. Map user inputs to input actions and can be dynamically added or removed priorities for each user. You can apply one or more of these contexts to a local player through its enhanced input local player subsystem and prioritize them to resolve collisions between multiple actions trying to consume the same item. Consider a single button that can either open doors while the character is walking around the world or select an item while the character is looking through a backpack. Whenever the character is near a door, you add the open door context. That's cool. That is seriously awesome. Because you had to do this in blueprints previously. And you'll still have to do it, but it'll be a lot easier now. If the character opens the backpack, you add a select item input mapping context that out-prioritizes the open door context. So that characters looking through a backpack while standing near a door can still select backpack items. When the character closes the backpack, you remove the select item context, enabling the open door context to take effect. That's cool. That really simplifies things quite a bit. This ensures that the user's input will be interpreted correctly based on the character situation. Yeah. Modifiers are just a value of raw input coming from the user's device. An input mapping context can have any number of modifiers associated with each raw input for an input action. Common modifiers include dead zones, input smoothing over multiple frames, conversion of input factors. Oh, very cool. Triggers use post-modifier input values, or the output magnitudes of other input actions to determine whether or not an input action should activate. Any input action within an input mapping context can have one or more triggers for each input. For example, taking a photograph might require that the user hold down the left mouse button for a quarter of a second while a separate input action for aiming the camera is active. Cool. This adds layers, which is awesome. Input actions are the connection between the system and your project's code. You can create an input action by right-clicking the context browser, expanding the input option, and choosing input action. Okay. Oh, this is nice. Yeah. This is very new. I think 5.1 came out 4 or 5 days ago. So yeah, this is pretty new. Or maybe a little longer. Actually, might be a week already. But this is awesome. Ongoing and cancelled are like, mwah. Oh, that is great. I love that. I love that so much. So what does this do? Right, so the mapping context is where we add the actual control that actually, is the actual input. And it's also where we add extra layers. Oh man, this is awesome. This is great. Okay. I wasn't expecting to start using an entirely new system today, but Fair enough. Fair enough. Inputs. Let's go into input. Oh, nice. This is also where they now put the force feedback stuff. That's cool. So I take an input action. One of these things that can push back timelines. Yeah, exactly. So an IA is which we're gonna abbreviate it to. Do I have to say like jump? Can I do one input action per? Yes, I can. Sorry, no, this is only one. Oh, this is like the details for an input action. Wait, so if I do input and I do input mapping context, I'm gonna say master. Well, I say input mapping context IMC master input mapping context. Here I can add a mapping that is IA jump, which is spacebar, which can then have triggers and stuff like that. Is player mappable? Yes. Oh, this is excellent. Oh, this is excellent. So wait, okay, so it introduces a little more work at the start. Whoa. Hang on. Contains invalid data. Oh, right, because I did the mappable thing. I can save it like this. There we go. Show message log. It's empty. Great. So it takes a little bit more work at the start. But wait, how do I then... So if I want to, for example, say... actually, let's keep this open, because we're going to need this. If I want to say something like... because right now, jumping... if I want to say something... Oh, yeah, okay. Input action, IA... 3D movement, right? Something like that. Well, yeah, 3D movement. I want to open this up and I want to say value type is a vector 2D, right? Right? Sorry, no. Wait, hang on. Sorry. Rename this to, lateral movement. There we go, which will be W and S. So what then happens if I just, sorry, I'm figuring this alongside with you guys. So let's create a character. Which we'll call master character. Oops. And then just in here, I just want to have a quick look. What happens when we say lateral movement? Action value is a 2D vector. Or do I just want to make this? Because if I break this apart, I get two floats. So I could store both movement directions in this. Right? Forward, backward is one float. And left, right is another float. So I can put all movement in this, right? Hang on. Spring arm, please. And attach that to the camera. I can't even type. That's how excited I am for this. Oh, I haven't enabled the most important plugin of all. Hang on. Where is it? Where's the Blueprint Assist plugin? I wish this search bar worked, but it doesn't. Oh, it does. Whoops. Install, please. Because it's a super useful blueprint plugin to have. It's so nice. Anyway, target is self. That's perfectly fine. But then my question is, how does it determine? How does it determine what is forward and what is, like, how does it determine the value of these floats that come out of this, basically? Oh, nice. Elapsed seconds. Oh, that's awesome. That's super useful. How does it determine that? How does it figure that out? Hold time threshold. There's a dead zone. Wait, what's this? Sorry. There are a large number of input bindings available in the drop-down menu. To select your input binding more quickly, click the small button to the left of the drop-down, and oh, that's cool. That's nice. So you want to add the mapping context with the player controller. Okay. Input modifier. A good example of input modifier usage is two-dimensional directional input using a single input action. With a mouse or a gamepad's analog stick, reading two-dimensional movement is a simple matter of creating an input action that supports at least two axes, which we've got, and adding the appropriate input to the input mapping context, which we've got. Enhanced input supports input from one-dimensional source such as a keyboard's directional arrows or the popular AASD key. You can achieve this control scheme by applying the correct input modifiers, specifically by using negate to make some keys register as negative, and using swizzle input axis values to make some keys register as y-axis instead of the default x-axis. Okay. So if I go here and I just add a few more, hang on, A, D, and then up, down, left, right, and then just to kind of like, so I would add a modifier, right, which I can choose from. I'm just going to put this on this side so I can take a bit better look at it. So for the W, it would be to swizzle input axis value. To now be YXZ. Okay, right. So then, okay, yeah, I get it. Then for backwards, it's two modifiers, so it's a negate first, because I presume these stack, and then it's a swizzle, negate. Okay, I'm curious how this is going to have an effect, but we'll see. Okay, then for A, it's just a negate. And then for D, it's nothing. Because that's the positive x-axis, so that's fine. Okay. But then... So, that still doesn't really tell me very much about what kind of value is going to come out of this. So let's try and print string that for a minute. I still need to set up a few basic things, but let's quickly see if we can check that. Let's grab a player controller, master player, player controller. We're gonna basically build stuff off of this, off these master blueprints, basically. Game mode base, which we call GM master game mode, because that's what we learned in the previous prototype, right? How to do inheritance, which is awesome. So, oops. So inside of this one, I want to make sure that inside of the class defaults, the player controller is this one, and the default pawn class is this one. And then inside of the project settings, I want to go to maps and modes, and I want to, the default game mode is the master game mode, and editor startup is actually this level, as well as game startup. There we go, we've got that set up now as well. And then I just got to go into the master controller, and just got to add the context apparently. Which I can do on begin play. Right? Wait, hang on. Hold on. Get enhanced local input subsystem, which comes from self. Add mapping context, which you can say this one. Print string mapping context added. Okay. Then yeah, all this should work fine, right? I don't know if this is gonna work fine, but we're gonna find out. It's not fine. Why not? Because we know that this happened. We saw the print string. Let's pull this out. Let's see what I can see. Let's see what happens when we debug this. Let's pull in a few different of the events. Let's see what happens. Oh, here we go. It's doing stuff. So ongoing seems to not actually work. Neither does left and right, but that's okay. Backward and forward works. Let me show you guys what this looks like. Actually, that's not going to work. I need to pull this one to the side then. So when I move back and forth, you can see that both started and triggered gets called, which is super useful because that means you can use started for like status updates, basically things that only need to happen once, and triggered you can use for continuous inputs, which is super awesome. That is cool. It's a little bit new. It's a little bit interesting to get used to. But in theory, that means that through triggered, we can say this. yeah, and then I can say add movement input. I can plug the X into this one. Oh, this is so interesting. So the game basically makes assumptions on what it is you're trying to do. Sorry, the engine makes assumptions on what you're trying to do, which is interesting. I need to get the right vector for this one, but I need to do a few more things with this before this works properly. I always forget what this is. Can you get rid of the break vector 2D? No, I don't think so. Because I think without it, I can't dilute it into the. Well, I guess I could, right? I could just make it like a single vector, but then I'd have two inputs, which. Yeah. Is there a specific reason why you're asking? Because I'd love to know if it's like an optimization thing. I should rename this, which I'll actually do in a second after we've had that chat. Then I just gotta remind myself. Hang on. Oh, we're one subscriber away from 450 subscribers. That's awesome. That's super cool. Let's see, lists. This one. Nope, not what I want to do. And then I gotta go to this one just to double check again how he sets some of this stuff up, because I always end up forgetting. I really love for him to make a new, like renew his series with, but then in 5.1, I think that'd be awesome. I think that'd be seriously cool. That'd be so helpful. Yeah, we'll check this in a second. I would think that it gives the movement vector in single vector energy to plug it out into the character movement. No, I don't think so. Because the actual movement input itself doesn't know which value to use. So I don't think there's a way to do that. I think there's not a way to do that. Actually, we don't want the right. Yeah, actually, we do want the right vector of the camera. Oops. Let's pull that out a bit. And let me just double check again. So at some point YouTube starts recommending like which part of the video has been rewatched the most. It is now confidently this part of the video that I always rewatch constantly. Because I just need to set it up once. Like, I'm not repeatedly doing it, so I always forget how to do it. Let me see what he's doing. Right. That is why he does that. Oops. Yep. Oh, hang on. There we go. And I do actually need the camera for this one. We just put that as an ad. God damn it. I don't want ads. No ads allowed here. Speaking of which, I have no idea how many ads my channel is playing at the moment, which is super annoying. Yeah, so instead of we actually want to do this a little differently. Yeah. There we go, much better. Okay, cool. Very awesome that we set that up. Now I just need to... Oh, stretchy stretch. Yes. Oh, God. I actually didn't need stretch. My God. Oh, Jesus Christ. I went to the gym on Friday. And, I went, like, during midday. And there was just some people who were, like, combining machines and, like one leg on one machine, one leg on the other machine. It was super crazy. And I was like, dude, come on. I'm trying to just use one machine here. Stop hogging both. How many points for a yoga pose? For 60,000? Don't hold me to that. Which yoga pose would you want me to do? Alright, let's see how this works. So we have forward, backward, and left and right. Excellent. Angry. So we've got 3D movement. I'm nearly there. A few more streams to 60k. Shit. I meant 600k. That's what I meant. That's what I meant. I do at some point want to do like one of those like bigger things where it's like, oh, the community can collect points together, and then there's like a certain reward attached to it. Downward facing dog. Sure, yeah. So what I could do, right? I'm happy to do that one. I'll just do it here on the floor, which you guys will never be able to see, but I still did it. So, you know, that's what all those streamers do that politely with their curves say they're gonna do squats and stuff. And there's like 10k people watching here like, do the squats. And then when they do the squats, they do them like off screen. It is the pinnacle of Twitch, if you will. The Ubaya Konasana. Let me Google that on a screen that you guys can't see, because I don't trust you, Larissa. Ubaya Konasana. Yes, I will in fact do the upright seated angle. I agree. This is the yoga pose I should do. Don't trust myself either. Fair enough. Yeah, no, this will definitely not go wrong. I definitely won't like rip any muscles whatsoever when doing this one. So, great stuff. Great stuff. So now my question becomes, so just to keep this, I can rename it now as well. That's great. Rename to unilateral movement. Okay. And then I wanna, inside of the context, I just gotta apply the same modifiers to up, down, left, right. Which was, so this is a bit of a, like UI-wise, it's a bit of a questionable choice whether this is better or not, but we'll see. So we want a, oh god, we want a swizzle, because we, yep, because we're going up, right? So we don't want the x-axis, we want the y. On the down, we want to negate and a swizzle. Bam, bam. So we first want to negate to go the other direction, and then we want to swizzle whizzle, like that, to go in the other direction on the y. Then on the left, we just want to negate. I'm starting to slowly understand the system now. And then on the right, we don't want anything, because we're on the x-axis, and that's like that way, right? We're going that way. That's fine. Okay, so let's just double check that that actually works with the, yeah, with the arrow keys. That works great. Okay, so now let's set this up for the camera input. Camera input. Camera directions. No, camera. Yeah, camera directions is fine. So I want to make this a 2D, a vector 2D as well. Changing action value type, affected one blueprints. Great. Then I want to put inside of the master input mapping context, I want to close this one and this one. I just want to add a mapping that is camera directions. Oh, I can't do that for mouse X. Oh, you can just make it a 2D axis. But how would that work then? If I do that, right? No, actually, I don't want to do that. Because that combines the input. Which is not what we want to do, actually. So we just want to have mouse X. And we want to have another one that is mouse Y. And I guess on the mouse Y, I want to put a swizzle. Right? Because we're using a different axes. Am I saying this right? I think so. I think so. So if I now do... This is still using lateral movement, which it shouldn't. So let's add IA unilateral movement, and then on triggered, and this is the action value. So then I want to add another one for camera directions, and I actually want to say on triggered I want to add pitch. Controller pitch input. Pitch, yes. For which this we want to break again. The pitch is the Y. And then we want to add the yaw. Add controller yaw. Yaw. It's a cowboy doing blueprints. I'm sorry. Like that. Yes. Let's leave all the settings as they are right now. Let's see what this results into. Whoa. This is, we're kind of like turning around ourselves now. Which is definitely not what we want to do. And that's probably because of some of the settings. I also always forget how these settings are supposed to work. Use pawn control rotation. Whoa. So it is rotated now, which can be fixed actually by just adding in the gate. Like that inverts it, basically. Right? Yes, that inverts it. Great. It's just that the left-right now looks a bit odd. So, we actually go in here, and we, Oh, I know why. It's got nothing to do with the settings. It's the fact that we have a 300 centimeter camera boom attached to it. There we go. Yeah, left and right, up and down. And we are always moving in the right direction. The only thing now is just to look up, eject ourselves, and then turn on collision view. Yes, it stays up straight. So what you don't want, right? What you don't want when you're rotating... when you have your character and the character looks up, you don't want them to move their collision along with it, because then at some point they're gonna come to a point where they're like this, and then all movement effects are borked basically, so you don't want that. Okay, cool. This is a really cool system. It's a little getting used to, but it's cool. It's cool. I like it. Chilling on the back. Yeah, exactly. I like this system. This introduces a lot of simplicity. Like, the system itself is a bit harder to learn. For someone that's used to the original system. Like, for someone that's getting into this new, they'll just learn this system and that's it, which is great. But it means I don't need to have, like, a million input actions, which is really lovely. And remapping becomes a ton easier, which is great. Because I could then probably, inside of like the master controller, I could probably get the enhanced input local player system. I could like get the name of a key and then, you know, tell it to remap it if I wanted to. So I want to do the jump one. And just on, not on triggered, but on started, because this is a one-time event, we just want to jump. That's it. That is the whole thing we want to do there. Really simple. Bonk, we jump. Great stuff. Now I've got an extra question. I have an extra question. If we wanted to go into inputs, for example, and say input action, and we call it sprint. I think we leave everything as it is, because a boolean's fine. If we add this to the mappings, sprint, and as a key we put left shift, what happens? Action value. So it's saying if we're doing it or not. So I could just bind this directly, which means that only, like, the following thing only happens if this is still true. If it's still triggered, basically, and the trigger can also be activated on in other cases, basically, but that's not what we were looking for. Yeah. So there's two ways we can do this, actually. What happens when this returns false? Let's find out. When does it return false is the question. Let's also remove the print string from here. It never really triggers false, because as soon as I let go of the button, it no longer gets triggered, so there's no real point to doing this. Okay, so we don't have to use it this way, but we can instead say on started, we can set character movement speed. What is it not? What is it called? What's the actual variable called again? Max walk speed is what it's called. Set max walk. Ah, shit, hang on. Set max walk speed. Which is what we're going to do in started. And we want to do this again on, trading has been cancelled. Sure. Not sure if that counts as cancelled, but we'll find out. And we actually want to promote this to sprinting speed, and another one that says walking speed, which is a float. There we go. Default values for walking speed is 600. For sprinting speed, it's 900. Oops. There we go. It's not pretty, but that's again because we're not using the Blueprint Assist plugin, so it'll get pretty at some point. So I'm not sure when cancelled gets triggered, but we'll find out. Okay, so cancel does not get triggered on releasing the button. What about completed? Oh, what does it say? Yeah, that seems to work. Let's add a few of these just to get a better sense of progression. Let's also remove. Oops. Let's remove this and let's grab a player start. There we go. Okay. And then let's put this a little higher. Let's put it to like 1500, like something ludicrously high, just to really see the difference. I can also sprint backwards now, which is a different problem, but yeah, that definitely works. That's awesome. Okay. I like the new input system. It's cool. It's very, very cool. It is very cool, I must say. Okay. Good stuff. Oh, I need to stop hearing myself. Hang on. There we go. Okay, so what I want to do now is I actually want to raid someone because I need to stop streaming in like a few minutes because I've got something else I need to attend to. So I want to stop streaming, but I want to just share the love. I see there's a few people watching, so let's go share the love with another developer who I met recently. Let's see. So unless anyone else has a suggestion for a developer they'd love to spread the love to, this person has a few viewers already, but that's okay. I just really appreciate their coolness. So I think I can click. This is a little strange. Let me pause the music. I don't do a lot of raids. So just when you guys go into this other person's stream, be nice and let them know that you appreciate them, because that is awesome. So if I do, oops. Also, it's this person for anyone that wants to see it already. So if I do /raid. And then channel, which is acorn1010. Okay, I hope this is going to work. If it does, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see each other next stream. I'm going to press enter. Yes, I think that worked. I think that worked. Did it work?
Where I was dabbling in just like some website stuff, and before then
Has
I
that
was
worked?
also doing some kind of like reverse engineering stuff.
I have no idea.
With like some steganography and other stuff. There were these challenge sites online, so I used to look at hex stuff, you know, try to do some like
No, that has not worked.
real simple
Wait.
SQL injection stuff. Just
What?
trying to learn. And these challenge sites offered a really nice way of doing
How
it.
does this command work? I don't get it.
Right, like there was
I hate the raiding functionality in Twitch, man. It's so bad.
broken or
Start
something on
raid?
each
Is that a
page,
thing?
and your goal was to figure out like
Send
how
yours
it
to
was
another
broken
channel when
and
your
then do
stream
it
ends.
as
Oh, when
a
my
project,
stream ends.
and you get points for every
Oh, okay. I'm stupid. All right. Here we go. I want to thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see each other in the next stream.
with,
Thanks, everyone.
some,
Bye-bye.
like, game thing or something for class using Dark Basic, and then I kind of didn't do a lot of programming until college, where I was like forced to do programming basically. I had a choice between that or electrical engineering.